you were frustrated that you had gotten a cease and desist letter, because part of what you have is you have a swag shop where you sell, yeah, there it is, where you sell kind of parody merchandise for oil and gas companies. And it's kind of poking fun at shell companies in the industry and whatever. And after the Texas freeze, you expanded that to ERCOT. And so, as you can see here, if you're watching the video, but those who aren't, you've got a hat that says BRCOT, BRRCOT. And apparently ERCOT reached out and said, no moss with the BRCOT. What happened, man?
So there's a little more background to the story on that. It was February 16th when I first started selling the BRCOT designed merchandise. We were sitting at home, couldn't leave the house because all the streets were frozen. Most people were out of power, out of water. I sat there on my computer and started working on something. And I've got a creative team, as I like to call them, a group of about 10 to 15 individuals who I bounce ideas off of, things like that, to hone in on refining the designs before I post anything up for sale in the store. Somebody on the creative team reached out to me and said, hey, you should do something with BRCOT. And I thought that was a pretty good suggestion. So I started working on that. And once it went up for sale, Chuck Yates was in the process of trolling ERCOT on Twitter. He was taking the page where they had posted all of the board members' names and qualifications and things like that, and individually addressing each board member on his own Twitter account, saying, you know, this person is from Michigan. I'm sure they know a lot about how Texas works, things like that. When he saw that I had posted the BRCOT merchandise, he immediately sent me a text message and said, hey, I want you to send some of this stuff to every single one of these board members, and I will pay for it. Send me the bill, and I will finance this project. So Chuck and I, we've kind of been friends for a while now, and I know that he's kind of a goofy guy. So I had to make sure that he was being serious about this at first. And then once I actually started working on that, it got a lot harder because ERCOT took their webpage down that showed a list of all of the board members, because they were catching so much flack in the media and online about having all of these people who are being paid quite a lot of money to regulate the energy grid in the state of Texas when they are not actual Texans. Some of them, I don't know if they've ever even been to Texas, to be honest. We had Canadian companies, people from Michigan, California, all over the place. So when they took that page down, I had to use the Wayback Machine to find the archive of all of the board members. And I believe we ended up sending, it was a BRCOT coffee mug, a BRCOT face mask, and a BRCOT sticker to 21 of the then current or past board members. A few days after that happened was when they evidently had all of the out-of-state board members resign. So once they started receiving all of these packages, we had 2 of them that actually got returned. We heard back from one of the board members who actually said it was a great looking coffee mug. And I just figured that was the end of it.
Right.
Saturday morning, I got to the office. I was putting together a bunch of packages.
This Saturday. Okay, we're fast forwarding to this Saturday morning now.
Yeah.
And how long between the time you sent the swag to this 2 days ago?
We sent the swag in late February.
Okay, so it's been out there. It's been out there for a while. It took you a little while to find it, but it still was. It's been out there for a few months now.
And to be honest, I totally forgot that I even had any of this stuff on the site, because I haven't sold any BRCOT merchandise for months now.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a pressing issue, and I am currently working on a new design for the summer blackouts that we're about to start experiencing across the state. So when I got that letter Saturday morning, I was pretty surprised. I honestly thought it was a joke at first. When I read through it, I sent you guys the letter, so I know that y'all have read through it as well. But basically, they're trying to say that Landman Life using Burkott is tarnishing their image.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's dissect that real quick. So a couple things. We did get a copy of the letter that you said. So we reviewed that, and the disclosure on the Texas Oil and Gas podcast side is we're trying to dissect what's going on here, because for us it's a little frustrating that that ERCOT let this happen. We've talked about this. We've had people on about this, and so we're pretty frustrated with this. Kind of Josh and I talked about this before you came on offline. And the frustrating thing for me is they said you can't use the term Burkott, which is BRRCOT. I don't know how they can claim that. That seems tough. Using their logo, I could understand them saying that. I don't know about parody enough to know what you can and can't do there. I do think I had to hear more and think through it a little bit more. It's kind of all fresh and happening. But the Burkott, like, you can't say Burkott. Like, I don't know how they could claim that, especially with like Saturday Night Live and all the parody stuff that we've seen over the years. So the logo, I maybe there's a case. I have no idea. I'm not a lawyer, but the fact that they said you can't say Burkott, so everyone's clear. It's two things. It's not just the logo. It's the BRRCOT. To me, that's preposterous.
So for a government-funded agency to be paying to employ a intellectual property law firm to contact us for this was a little outrageous to me. So the first thing that I did, I forwarded that letter over to our attorneys, and our attorneys at Holmes Law PLLC in Houston. I heard you and Ben talking about Rocket Lawyer earlier.
Yeah.
If you ever need to actually have a real attorney, call up Holmes Law. They'll take care of you guys. I sent that over to Tommy Holmes, who's the principal attorney there, and his response was, screw that, screw them, go ahead and keep it up. He happened to be at a function with quite a few of the larger names in the Texas Republican Party, and he started sharing with some of those people the letter, and everybody got a good laugh out of that, because ERCOT is not a commercial company. They cannot claim that I have actually done commercial damages that would prevent them from doing business. So the cases that they're citing in this letter actually have no application for a government-run agency.
Mm-hmm. So
they're funded based off of a surcharge on all of our electric bills.
Right. So let me ask you this, because play devil's advocate here. Whether it's ERCOT or some of the other stuff you have on the website, and I don't have a full roster in front of me. I had it pulled up, but I closed it out. On some level, it seems like you're trying to accomplish maybe two or three things. One, first off, you're trying to sell swag, and good on you for that. Okay, like I told you the other day, I got to start a swag shop. I'm a little jealous of you, because it seems like that's been pretty successful. So good on you for that. But two, you're trying to poke fun at things that either maybe you're frustrated, maybe you're not. You just find them funny, but you are kind of you're playing the not the villain's right word, but you're poking at stuff, right? So are you surprised that it's taken so long to kind of get pushback from some corporate entity, whether they're government regulated or not? Because you are kind of poking the bear on some level.
I am not surprised. We've gotten demand letters about stuff in the past. I was surprised that it came from ERCOT.
Okay, I got you. So this isn't the first time you've had it. It's just the first time it came from a public entity.
I've learned a lot more about copyright and trademark law than I had ever intended to.
Okay, so you've gotten a cease and desist letter, which essentially means you should take down all the stuff off your store. If someone like myself happened to log on the website this weekend and buy some of that stuff, obviously, and it got shipped to me because I was charged for it and I displayed on my laptop was like a sticker, obviously that's one thing. But what do you do moving forward? Like, do you continue to fight this legally? Like, what's next for people who are because there is a sense in which kind of lampooning things and taking them to task without writing a dissertation is a way that the common guy can do stuff, right? You can kind of make fun of ERCOT by calling him Burcott, and we all get it. We all get the joke. We froze to death, some of us literally, but we froze to death figuratively for days on end across the state of Texas. And so the fact that we want to take them to task, this is one of the ways that we do it. So how do you proceed moving forward? Do you have to take it down? Can you continue? What are your options? And to give us the full disclosure, but where can people follow you to understand or to follow the story moving forward?
You can follow Landman Life on pretty much all social medias. We've got an account on Facebook, Twitter. Of course, we've got the webpage, landmanlife.com. I've been in touch with our legal counsel, and the next move is for ERCOT because we're not taking anything down. And if they really want to move forward, that's fine. We'll go straight to the press and we'll see if they really want to continue to drag their own name through the mud.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, God, they don't have good publicity right now. And so it's a weird time to fight this battle, especially if we do have summer blackouts. And ERCOT is the culprit once again. Boy, it is a bad time from a PR standpoint. It's one of those times where sometimes in life you just got to take the L. You just got to take the L. Even if the other guy's wrong, you still got to take the L because it's something else. And it's like Josh on this podcast, not showing up for work last week and trying to work around it. He's got to take the L. Josh, you got to take the L, man. You weren't here last week. But I don't care what kind of fish you caught. You got to take the L. But you got to take the L. And so I think ERCOT is welcome to come on this podcast if they want to. And we'll be following this story. It's obviously it's not something we cover this kind of stuff on the podcast regularly, but it was something that it's like, okay, this is a really weird thing that's happening here, that they are focused on this when in 2 weeks ago they're telling us to run our temperatures at 82. And I get it. I get ERCOT's like, well, we've got different departments. I get all that. I get it. It's just still a weird time. So anyways, we'll give you the last word. Tell people where they can find you and anything else you want to say. I think you got a podcast as well, so plug that too.
Landmanlife.com. We are in the process of launching our first 2 podcasts, hopefully sometime next week. For sure, by mid-July, we'll have a couple episodes out for you guys. We've got a great group of people helping us out. We're headed in some new directions, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.